What's good, family? It's your boy Old Soul J, and I'm back with another video. And today we are reacting to, I don't even remember what I'm about to react to, but we about to see. We are reacting to another video by Thoth Anunnaki. Shout out to that channel. And you know, it's actually perfect. The first reaction video, which I shamefully forgot to switch the screen of. The first reaction video was about the Anunnaki, you know, which was with the Billy Carson interview. And then the second reaction video was talking about AI. Now I find a video where Billy Carson is talking about AI. So, you know, it's kind of like combining both the videos. It's like the perfect sequel to those two videos.
Let's get into a little bit about the concept or idea of Neuralink. And I'm going to read directly from this description.
Hold on, I didn't even read the title to y'all. I mean, y'all seen it though, but it says Elon Musk AntiChrist Neuralink brain chip. Wow, that's some title. Now, I do want to mention, I heard someone else say before that not Elon Musk is the Antichrist, but AI is the Antichrist. Now, I've heard people say the same thing about Elon Musk before. I think that's more tied into because he's so heavily involved with you know, the whole Tesla thing and AI and robots and all that stuff. So I don't know, family. Let's see what Billy Carson got to say though.
I don't botch any of my words on this. I want to make sure I give you the exact description here. What is Neuralink? Surgically implanted brain chips brought to you by Elon Musk. Neuralink is a neurotechnology company founded by Elon Musk that's building an implantable brain-computer interface capable of translating thought into action. Launched in 2016, the private venture claims in its neural device that it will allow people with paraplegia, talking about people who are paralyzed, to regain movement and restore vision to those who are born blind.
Wow.
The implant itself is called the Link. This is a coin-sized brain chip, and it is surgically embedded under the skull, where it receives information from neural threads that fan out into sections of the subject's brain to control motor skills. Each wire contains 1,024 electrodes, which are sensors capable of recording and emitting electrical currents, and are so fine and flexible that they can be inserted by the human hand, according to Neuralink's website. That's why Neuralink has built a neurological robot that's designed to become fully automated. We're talking about integrating some type of AI into this as well. The company is also developing an app that will allow a person to manipulate a keyboard and a mouse using only their mind. So, if a person
using only their mind. Damn. We are literally stepping into a world or a time period that when we were kids, the type of stuff we seen in movies, or the type of stuff you still see in movies or in TV shows, putting a chip inside your mind and being able to use it as a computer like your mind. What we're talking about here is merging with technology. Isn't that the same thing? I've heard that is what, you know, supposedly what the Anunnaki did wrong. I don't know if it was mentioned in that video that I reacted to about the Anunnaki, but that's one of the common themes about their story is that they merged with technology. Like, I've heard that before about the story about the Anunnaki. Like, some people say they merged too much with technology and basically it stunted their growth in the future, or eventually they got to a certain point where they couldn't evolve because they weren't pure or something like that. I heard something like that, but that's kind of scary how that links up.
Paraplegic, or they lost their arms in a car accident, you know, and they need to get to work. They can work by thinking. Their thinking can create typing on a keyboard that can pick up those thought patterns.
Wow.
Their thought patterns can continue to allow them to manipulate and move machinery around, even without arms. If they got into a severe car accident and had their...
Guys, is this really happening? I'm sorry. I gotta look this up real quick, guys. What's going on right now? What is going on right now? How haven't I heard about this? I mean, I've heard about chips, but Neuralink is an American neurotechnology company founded by Elon Musk that develops implanted brain-computer interfaces. The technology aims to create a high-bandwidth connection between the brain and computers, initially focusing on restoring functionality for people with Wow. First human patient. What? Neuralink update summer 2025. 1 year later, first Neuralink implant patient shares story. What is going on? Alright guys, I guess this reaction video is going to be mixed with two reactions because I quickly want to watch this video before we continue watching the Billy Carson video. This is basically saying the first Neuralink implant patient shares story. 1 year later. Let's get into it.
In simplest terms, a brain-computer interface is a device that senses brain activity, specifically your intention to move your hand, and sends that information out of the head and gets translated so that it can drive a computer. The combination of Barrow and Neuralink was an ideal match because you have one of the best and most trusted brands in neurosurgery coming together with one of the leading companies in neurotechnology, and together the powers of both are just enormous. We started learning about how Neuralink put their technology together, and we're really excited about that. I just realized that the time was now.
I was working at a summer camp. I didn't dive into the water. I didn't jump off anything super high. I had hit my head somewhere along the way, I guess. And immediately I knew I was paralyzed.
Wow.
Nolan had a tragic accident. He lost his ability to move his arms and legs and became completely dependent on others, including his parents.
I've been following Neuralink ever since he got announced, and the day that human trials opened up, I gave Nolan a call.
And Nolan seemed very, very excited about it, and he was really excited that if he could benefit anybody in any way, he thought, let's go for it.
This trial needed somebody just like Nolan. So many people think about this device as something that's scary, and Nolan stepped up. He demonstrated that this was not something to be feared, but something that would change lives in a positive way.
He just got pushed right through the entire process and got selected as the first candidate within a couple of months.
It's very exciting stuff, and I'm really happy to be a part of it. And I'm happy that they chose me.
That's an amazing gift that Nolan has given humanity, to step forward.
Yeah, this video is giving me an odd vibe. I don't know what it is.
And make it easier for everyone else who's following. On the day of Nolan's surgery, there was incredible energy here at Barrow. There were people coming from all corners of the world, from the top of...
This guy looks like a vampire. This guy is a vampire. I'm joking. But, alright, Femi. We are back. I had a little bit of technical difficulties. You never know, bro.
To the top of Barrow, and all of us were focused like lasers on this operation and getting this device into Nolan's brain safely so that this could make history. When I first met Nolan, it became obvious that he was the guy for this. He was brave. He had no fear about the procedure. He wanted to help humanity.
Man, because, I mean, look, if you was paralyzed and you tragically lost your arms and legs just from going to a summer camp, I think a lot of people would jump at the chance to be able to walk and move their arms again. So I don't blame him for feeling like this, or, you know, for wanting to test it.
He's a happy person. He has a great sense of humor. He connects easily with people. I can only imagine what it must have felt like for Nolan to see the activity of his brain flashing on the computer screen. For us, it was like we were unlocking this secret language that never before we had access to.
In day one of being able to get cursor control, he beat the world record.
When I see Nolan driving that cursor with his thoughts, it's pure magic. In the days and weeks that were to follow, Nolan was going to undergo this incredible transformation where His control of his world was through a mouth stick, poking away at a computer screen. Going from that to having his intentions, how he would want to move his hand if he could, drive the cursor and control his world.
Wow.
The things that I'm able to do on this computer now should not be possible with me in my situation. I was playing a video game with my buddies from college. Not only was I able to play with them, but I beat them in a game based on speed.
What we've accomplished with Nolan is really just the first step. What waits for us ahead is so much more. The trial gives...
Yo, I just had this like, it's like really, it just hit me just now. Bro, I didn't know they, all right, look, I would have assumed already, like, cause I know that that things happen in private before it becomes public. So I would have already assumed like, yeah, they probably got some people that they don't put chips in already. This is public. Maybe because I'm just so detached from mainstream media, I haven't heard about this. I'm just so surprised that nobody has talked about this. Like, this is not being talked about though. Like, even if I'm detached from mainstream media, somebody should have mentioned this. Guys, dude, this is a huge standpoint in history right now. And I'm not saying that as if it's a good or a bad thing. Quite frankly, I'm kind of leaning towards it not being such a good thing. But somebody, they implanted a chip in his brain already. They're already doing it. This is happening. This is now real. Like, it was already real, but you get what I'm saying when I say this is now real.
Autonomy and restored hope.
Like, you see Elon Musk right there next to the doctor and all this, and Nolan.
And for us, it gives this incredible opportunity to understand the workings of the human mind.
I'm very optimistic about what BCI could mean to humanity. We're really hoping to help those with terrible spinal cord injury be able to get their digital autonomy back.
What this trial has shown us is that there is something more that we can do for these patients. We can help them take back control of their own lives.
So let's continue the Billy Carson video.
Car accident, had their spine broken, and now they're paralyzed. It can allow them then to, move their legs, right?
So we were in the video we just watched of the first patient or the first person to test it. It didn't look like he was actually moving his body. So I think they're on the first stages in terms of, I don't know, maybe I missed something. Maybe I didn't see, because he was playing chess, but it didn't look like he was moving his body doing it. He was mentally doing it. They connected him to a machine, yeah. So I don't think it was his body. They were just trying to see if his brain can control the technology. So I think the next step for them is to actually have like physical movement and things of that nature. This is a huge step and advancement towards technology. And Elon Musk is really just the guy with the money to run these businesses, to pay for the progression or the progress of what they're doing.
So this was the initial concept and the idea behind Neuralink, which is, if you're just looking at it for the first time, it's like, oh, this sounds great. This sounds amazing. And I would even say that, right? Like KG Hack says, Elon is the only one that gets the approval for this type of project. Well, when you're a billionaire, you can pay the right people and things get done.
Exactly.
Right? And especially if you're supporting political campaigns and things like that, lobbying and so forth. A lot of things get done when you got billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty interesting stuff. So far, it sounds like, man, this sounds like the answer to a lot of our problems. This sounds like an amazing thing, right? Oh, man, people who are paralyzed and people who lost their arms or limbs or whatever, this is going to help them a great deal. So far, so good. Sounds pretty good. Let's look at the flip coin of this thing as well. Let's take a look at, the other side, all right? The other side of this and some of the things that are not so good. So we can have a full context of what's really going on here and why I'm doing this video, why I'm surprised that human trials were approved today. Because as of today, the FDA, which is one of the hardest organizations to get anything approved through. Do you know how many real life, healthy, organic...
So he's saying that the human trials got approved, and he's about to make a huge point because he just brought up, I know what he's about to say. He's about to say how many real life, healthy, organic things are not approved by the FDA. What we just watched was basically the result of the FDA approving that. We literally just watched a little video talking about, you know, what happened there. Them actually testing it on a human.
Real life, healthy, organic supplements exist on the market that can really help you and help your hormone balance and help your blood pressure and your brain and everything else that cannot get an FDA approval. That literally will never get an FDA approval. There's millions of products, not thousands, not tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands. There are literally millions of products that could help you that will never get FDA approval. And then you have this product within a very short period of time gets FDA approval. I hate to say this, but that scares me a little bit. And I don't like to use that word scared, because that's fear. But that makes me go, gives me a little bit of goosebumps, because I'm like, wait a minute, this is a little bit too fast. Let's look at the history of Neuralink with this testing. I'm just going back not that far. Neuralink employees admit company has killed over 1,500 animals so far. Neuralink is reportedly under federal investigation and details are serious. This is from Futurism. Take a look here. They were doing monkeys. They were utilizing monkeys. In the study, all right, in the trials. Here goes an image.
Wow.
This is an actual image of a monkey wired with Neuralink, and getting some type of a reward there for allowing them to remote control its brain. Okay. And so this is what it says. We already knew that there were problems at Elon Musk's brain-computer interface startup, Neuralink. Internally, employees have warned of chaos as they say Musk pushes for overly ambitious goals. Externally, subject matter experts say that Musk's glib promises gloss over profound challenges standing in the way of a commercial brain implant for humans, and downplays deep ethical questions that will emerge if it does succeed. Ethical questions. Think about that word for a second. Ethical.
There are a lot of unethical things that go on in this world. That's for sure.
Has been looming since early on as well. Criticism of how the venture is treating its animal test subjects. Now a bombshell, Reuters story reports that those concerns have deepened considerably in the form of a federal probe about animal well-being at the company by the U.S. Department of Agriculture's Inspector General at the request of a federal prosecutor. Reuters reporting sounds extensive, drawing on what the news agency says are interviews with numerous and current or former employees of Neuralink at a time of growing employee dissent about Neuralink's animal testing. The specific allegations are grim, with Reuters reporting that Neuralink has since 2018 so far killed around 1,500 animals, including 280 sheep, pigs, and monkeys.
Damn! So they're literally testing it on animals right now, so they're trying to get it right at the cost of animals' lives. Now, to most people, that's like not a big deal because we eat animals. You know what I mean? As the human race, you know what I'm saying? You got your chicken, you got your fried chicken, you got your hamburger, you got your steak, you got your bacon. I don't eat pork, but you know, people eat animals. So that doesn't sound that alarming. That probably won't sound that alarming to most people. But let's see where this goes.
It's not clear how many of the animals have died specifically after being implanted.
But what makes this dangerous though is that the whole goal is to use it on humans. We don't know what the long-term after effects can be and how many casualties there might have to be, you know, for this to keep progressing.
Company's prototype brain chip, which Musk said this week expects to be implanting in human subjects within 6 months. But it had been previously reported that 21% of its monkeys had died because of issues with the devices. And And some of these deaths are pretty gruesome in the way that they happened. Some of these monkeys began to eat their own limbs once the device was implanted into them.
What?
They began to eat their own limbs, and then now they're saying, oh, within 6 months, it'll be in humans. As like a guarantee, it's going to be inside of humans in 6 months.
Guys, somebody look it up. I gotta find out what happens to Nolan. I don't know. By the time this video's out, I'll already probably see more about it. Cause I don't know, like right now in this very moment, I don't know how old that video was that I watched, and I'm not about to go look for it again. Cause I already X'd it out. But when I edit this video, I'll be able to see that. And then I'll be able to look into that more to see, like, you know, if I hope Nolan's still doing all right. You know what I mean? That would be tragic if his parents walked in his room one day and this guy was eating his own arm.
Sources tell Reuters that many mistakes endangering animal well-being are avoidable. For example, employees told the outlet that the company allegedly botched surgery on 2 pigs when it implanted their chips on the wrong vertebra. Oops, my bad. So all of a sudden you think you're going in to get your paralysis cured, and maybe you make it worse.
Bro said, oops.
To the company veterinarians to recommend killing one of the animals due to its poor psychological well-being. Worse, employees told Reuters that mistakes led to the animal's deaths were sometimes exacerbated by Musk pushing the company to work faster than was safe. Sounds like the global pandemic cure-a-majigger. You know what I'm talking about? Jabberwowski's rushing.
Yes, he's using a Dorilla pillow. How can you tell? Have you heard about Dorilla Ergo? It's the cutting-edge ergonomic pillow that people...
Even though it wasn't safe. One employee ventured to colleagues in a message obtained by Reuters that the company's work on animals was a hack job. The outlet reported that numerous employees have raised the concerns internally, and some have left the company entirely due to its concerns about how the animals were being treated. Pretty crazy stuff. They don't talk to you about this when they report that this thing has been released for human trials. So this is a crazy situation here where you have torture of animals, you have mistreatment of animals, you have science being rushed. And when you're rushing science and you...
Things like this are happening, and the news continues to talk about nothing. Like, they continue to talk about BS. I don't watch the news really at all, if at all. But I have family members who do. So best believe I'm going to ask them, have you heard about this? Because I just out of curiosity to know if this is even being reported on the news. Because if it is, it's probably being briefly reported as they go on a whole spiel about things that are not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? Like, when I do see the news, they're not really talking about, well, we already know what's going on with that.
Verbiage in your reports. Now you're building an agenda. The only,
like, this is something that should be talked. This is what the news is supposed to be reporting. Something like this.
Purpose that's here is to get this to market as fast as possible, probably to beat a competitor, and also to generate income. Because probably the research has been costing into the billions, and now it's time to pay some of those billions back. And so we must get this out within a certain period of time. We must meet these dead.
Greed, y'all. Greed. Do we see, yo? If greed, man, is one of the most self-destructive things about humanity. Greed. Literally what Billy Carson talking about, because that happens with so many companies. It is a high possibility that they could push this out earlier than it needs to be, than it's ready to be, for business purposes. What's best for business.
We must get this to market.
Like, I understand. I'm not against business overall or like pushing a business forward, but not when it comes. Like, it's not good when it comes to expense of humanity. That's what people have problems with in big corporations that really actually, they're running the world, or at least they're the main puppets in this matrix.
No matter what the expense, no matter what the cost, no matter how many people are hurt or injured by it, we got to get these first to market into human beings as fast as possible. This was just, what I'm reading to you was just 6 months ago. And guess what? Now here we go. This thing was approved by the FDA for human trials only 6 months after this. This should be a 10-year study. This should be a 15, 20-year study before human trials begin. But yet, here we go again. You got money. You got power. You have allegiances. You can make things happen. You can make anything happen in this world, obviously. Right? And so, this is some pretty sick stuff. And so, this is what's going on with Neuralink. There's another side to this as well that nobody's looking at. Every social media company that's been out there, the big ones, they've all sold out their data to the CIA and the FBI, right? And what happens when these brain scans or these brain chips are consistently downloading brainwave activity and thought activity from the past, present, and even the future, and then all that data becomes acquired, and then people who are just sitting in their homes relaxing end up a knock at the door. Here, you're getting arrested because, according to your brain pattern, you might have killed somebody at night.
Whoa! I didn't even think of that. But it's like, why would they not do that? Why wouldn't that happen? Do y'all see the trend going here? That is putting so much. Oh my God! If humanity wasn't under control enough, if humanity wasn't under control already,
75. According to your brain pattern.
Imagine you're paralyzed. You get a chip because it's supposed to help you not be paralyzed. And then the chip scans that 20 years ago. Like, imagine you got caught for like some illegal gambling or something like that. Something like that. I don't know. That you did 20 years ago and now you got to spend your life in prison. You got the chip so you can move again. But now you're going to be moving in prison. Now you're going to be moving in a cell. Now you're going to be ducking and dodging in those showers with your newfound body. What would be even crazier if they said, all right, before we put you in jail, we got to take the chip out of you.
Ready to commit.
These are all very realistic possibilities. And this is the thing. People love to wait to like, oh, you could say that, but let's wait and see what happens. Once you wait and see what happens, that's when it's too late. Once it's happening, a lot of times, it's a lot harder or almost impossible to stop.
In 2 years, or you get locked up on conspiracy charges because you're conspiring against the government, or you're conspiring to do this or conspiring to do that.
That's an even way better example than what I was saying. Conspiracy charges. Imagine you get arrested for your thoughts. Think about how many crazy things people think all the time that they never act on. You know, maybe they come to their senses or something. Because if you really think about it, if your thoughts are being read, that's basically what this is. It's a mind-reading chip. A person's thoughts, see, in this world, a person's thoughts, it is meant to be sacred to them unless they decide to share. It should only be up to that person whether their thoughts should be shared or not. This is literally being reported right now that they have officially created a mind-reading chip. And people are going to be lining up to get one. And they're masquerading it, they're covering it, they're wrapping it up in a pretty bow, in a pretty gift wrapping, as this will help people who have suffered tragic accidents to be able to move again.
They go with this. You remember Minority Report, the movie Minority Report, Tom Cruise, Future Crime Division? Yeah, future crime. Crimes that haven't even happened yet. Minority Report. So all of a sudden you're in a situation where your thoughts have now been compromised. And what happens then? Let's look at the other side. When you get hacked. When you get hacked and those chips remote control your body. Now somebody remote controls you to go and do a shooting somewhere. They remote control you to crash your car into a group of protesters. They remote control you to, go do something.
Yo, the more he talks about it, the more chaotic and tragic and alarming this sounds.
That you normally wouldn't do. Like go and rob a bank and bring them the money. And remote control your body all the way back to to the drop-off spot, right? Now they got the fall guy. Remote control you to commit an assassination of somebody important, a political figure. What happens when they start hacking into people's brains because the chip is there? There hasn't been one bank that hasn't been hacked. The federal government, U.S. government's been hacked. They get hacked almost on a daily basis. Even the highest level of military computers, they get hacked all the time. The teenagers hacking these computers, right? I remember somebody from Russia had hacked into every bank on Fifth Avenue in New York and had somebody...
This is one thing we have to remember about computers. Anything, any computer, any system, any technological system has the possibility of getting hacked. There is a way to hack any technological system. And that is why putting a computer in your brain is insane. Ramen accidentally.
Going from ATM to ATM collecting all the money from halfway around the world. Do you think that these people won't hack into your brain? People will hack into your brain while you're in your mansion sleeping and make you come turn the alarm off in your house and open your door so that people can come in and rob you. It's crazy. So there's a good side and there's also a dark side. As with anything in the universe, you have light and you have darkness. And so that's
so very true.
Facing. And so this thing needs to be really evaluated. You know, I just don't recommend people run down and start popping this thing into their heads. You should need to take all the disclaimers and terms, conditions, documentation to an attorney. How much of your information can be compromised or sold at any time? All of your thoughts, all the data from your thoughts can be downloaded on a stream, to a cloud and then saved somewhere for marketing campaigns and telemarketing and everything else. There's so much to this that can go bad. There's just too much to it that can actually go bad. And we really need to evaluate this Neuralink situation. I personally don't have anything against Elon Musk. I just don't think that this is one of his bright and shining moments. I don't think this is a good thing. I think that it's rushed. I think that it hasn't been thought out properly. I think that people are definitely going to probably end up injured or dead. And some people will actually have the benefit, the full benefit. There will be some people that get the full benefit. It's going to be a mix. But then long term, how much of that data is secure and safe, and where is that data being stored, and who gets access to that data of all these brains? Eventually, potentially billions of brains. That data is worth a planet. That's how much money that data is worth. It's not worth, you can't even put a number on it. You could probably take that money that you'll get, payment for that data, and buy your own planet. Literally. You can buy a solar system. Maybe you go buy an asteroid or something. You know? I mean, that's the kind of money we're talking about just for the data. Forget the cost that it gets to implant it into your brain. That's peanuts compared to the cost of what you can sell the data for. The brain data of billions of people. So, you know, it's interesting. It has a lot of great benefits, but I'm still have a big question mark on it as far as I'm concerned. And I just, I hope and, think that everyone who is thinking about getting this really does the research on it. All right. Now, this is pretty interesting because it takes me back to an old talk show that I saw. I think it was 60 Minutes. I saw on 60 Minutes this. I'm going to play this clip for you. I finally found it after digging and digging for about 35, 40 minutes. There is a student. At the time, he was a student. I don't think he's a student anymore. Let me pull up his name here. His name is Arnav Kapoor. Arnav Kapoor. I'll show you his face. Let me pull up a picture of this kid. All right. He had an incredible invention. And we're going back to about 2016 now. Let me see if I can find this kid's face. This is Arnav Kapoor. You might have never heard of this kid. This kid was a student at MIT, right? And while at MIT, he decided to go ahead and work on a new type of interface, that interface with the brain through conscious thought, right? Let me tell you what Arnav Kapoor was able to do long before Elon Musk came up with the idea for the Neuralink device. And this device doesn't have any type of surgery required. You don't have to put a chip inside of your head at all. It's pretty interesting. But it does a lot of the things that they were claiming that they want, this thing to do. Imagine perfectly memorizing things, crunching numbers as fast as computers do, silently texting other people, suddenly becoming multilingual so you can hear the translation in your head in one language and speak in another.
Wow.
This is the vision of Arnav Kapoor, which he actually developed this device years ago. Okay? We're talking about 7 years ago he did this. The vision of Arnav Kapoor, pioneering inventor, researcher, and rising star of the MIT Media Lab, as featured on CBS 60 Minutes, which is where I saw this when it aired live back then. He's working toward a future where people are the center of technology and that use it for good, extending our intelligence and abilities multifold without unplugging us from our environment, as today's digital devices do, and enabling us to solve the world's biggest problems. That future, in which wearable AI amplifies human intelligence, isn't far from reality. And what he's done is he's developed this device.
It's obviously not. We've clearly taken the first steps.
Which you see here, I'm going to put it back up again real quick. Develop this device which sits on the back of your ear, and there's a bone behind your ear that it makes vibrations and transmits the information directly to the bone, bypassing the opening in the ear. So it transmits the voices and the information directly into the brain, bypassing the hearing. Okay? So you can hear it, but you don't need to hear it through the ear. Hear it through the bone behind the ear. Interesting device. The entire internet in his head. This kid developed this almost 10 years ago, right? He probably started working on it over 10 years ago, got it working, functioning properly around 8 years ago. And that's an old clip from 60 Minutes, right? And what's interesting about this is when you look at the ancient texts and the ancient tablets, right? And you hear about the...
My boy Billy Carson, love the ancient texts and tablets. It is a amazing thing to refer to, because it's just so crazy how something that old, left by a civilization, just falls so in line of what we are facing today. And you know, some people would say, oh, other religions, it falls in line with what other religions say. We're not going to get into that. Remember, if y'all seen my Connecting Hinduism, Buddhism, and Spirituality video, I mentioned to y'all the tablets that he's about to refer to, I'm pretty sure, are the Sumerian tablets, or even the ancient Egyptian tablets, which are much older than any religion. So, you know, this is where a lot of the religions got it from.
Gods. These gods with this unlimited knowledge. When you go to Egypt, you find out that there's gods with this text in the ancient tablets, right? And you hear about these gods with this unlimited knowledge. When you go to Egypt, you find out that there's these locations where there would be these ancient temples, right? And these altars. And people, according to the local guides, would line up for miles in the ancient past. Absolute miles. And what were they doing? They would line up for miles so that they can come and have a word with one of these gods. The Natiru, as they're called in Africa, aka Anunnaki, aka Atlanteans, whatever you want to call them. The Nomo, according to the Dogon tribe. They had many different names, right? But when they would ask them questions, they had all the answers. What if, hypothesis, what if these beings had something similar to this, and this is just a rediscovery of what already existed?
Wow. Wow. Family, earlier in this video, did I not mention how in the beginning, I think it was in the beginning of this video, I mentioned how I've heard stories about people saying that the Anunnaki, which he's referring to, were too mixed with technology. And I talk about how humans are doing that now, and look what he's saying. When you critically think about these things and you put the pieces together, we come up with the same answers. Wow.
What if this is simply a rediscovery of what already existed? Because,
and I honestly, what he just said, what if this is a rediscovery of what already existed? You ever heard the saying, there's nothing new under the sun? I truly believe that every single thing that we discover, or the advancement of technology, I truly believe that everything that we discover as a human race, it already existed. We're discovering it. It may be new to us, but the things that were left behind for humanity that somebody or a group of people try so hard to bury, it strongly hints that these things already existed. For some reason, though, humanity, there was some time in history we forgot, or we were deprived of our knowledge. Man, I gotta do something. I gotta do a video on the Mayans. We gotta talk about the Mayans, because that what I just said just made me think about that civilization. But let's continue the video, y'all. You know, I have a habit of getting sidetracked, because it's just so many things just be connecting, and it just be reminding me of this and this and this. But let's continue, y'all.
No, according to these ancient texts and tablets, and from the depictions of these ancient beings and all these carvings and reliefs, they had on what appeared to be technology. They had technology in their hands, they had technology embedded into their clothing, and sometimes they had these earpieces that came across their mouth, looking like some of the stuff like what this kid just had on just now, right? If you look up the El Baal artifact, as a matter of fact, let me see if I can find that right quick, because it's a pretty interesting artifact. I have an actual copy of this artifact here in the house. And so I'm going to pull up a couple images. Here's one image. This is a full-size image of this El Baal artifact. You can see that this being is wearing something that seems to be extremely technological. All right, let me go and see if I can get you a close-up so you can see a little bit better as to what I'm actually looking at here. And you're going to see the device over the ear when I go into this Zoom. I got one here. Let me save this. And I have an actual replica copy of this same artifact here in my house upstairs. I've had it for years. The actual mold of the artifact. Let me give you a close-up look here. Now, in the upper left, you see this opening, right? And you see a being coming through the opening. On the being's ear, coming to its mouth, is a device. And then you see the being as a full size. You can see the breath coming out of this thing, which looks like some type of advanced suit that it's wearing. And this thing is thousands of years old. Thousands of years old, right? It's just pretty interesting. It's just a pretty interesting coincidence. It may have something to do with it. It may not. I'm just pulling up something to me that I thought was an extreme coincidence, because according to these texts and tablets, you can go and talk to these beings and they had all the answers. They're always having the answers. See, the human beings are being taught by this Anunnaki god. You could tell that it's an Anunnaki god, not a normal human, because of the size of this person. This guy is massive. The human beings only come up to his knees while he's seated. If he was to stand up, they'd be right at the knee joint. This being is a massive dude with a big elongated skull. And he's teaching human beings in this particular relief the secrets of anti-gravity. Okay? That's what he's teaching there. And that's a whole other podcast that I'll do and break this whole thing down as to exactly what's going on there. But these beings had an impressive level of knowledge. What if they were tapping into a database that they had brought to Earth with them, that they can literally think to it and it would give them the answers, giving them godlike, omnipresent, omnipotent capabilities, making it look like they had all the information and all the answers to every question in the world. They had immense knowledge on architectural structures and mathematics and languages, because when you read these texts, they're always changing people's languages and confusing languages and making these people speak that. They came up with all these languages out of absolutely nowhere, and they were all taught to them by these gods, quote unquote, with a lowercase g gods. What if they were using similar devices? They're just using some type of sophisticated computer database to read back to them, maybe even right there behind the ear, or some other device, maybe from those crowns that they always wore, and send the information right into their brain so they can regurgitate it, as if they actually came up with the ideas themselves. Pretty interesting. It's a possibility. It's an absolute possibility.
Doesn't seem too far-fetched.
Right? So we're talking about something that I used to talk about, or I have been talking about consistently in all my workshops. If you've ever come to any of my online workshops, any of my online classes, any of my big lectures where I talk about the power of the mind, what's one of the things I always talk about? The fact that the brain is sending out signals, it's sending out encoded data on a wave of light. We know that the brain emits electromagnetic waves. What is an electromagnetic wave? It's a wave of light. Not a wave of light that the human eye can actually see, because human beings see less than 1% of the light spectrum.
You see how science, it always lines up. The fact that we only could see 1% of the light spectrum, what do you think is happening when this is opened? You're seeing things that's already there that the average person cannot see. And even so, you're still probably not seeing everything that's there. You're not. I'm not even going to say I'm pretty sure. I am sure. You're seeing more, but not everything.
You much only get red, green, and blue and variations of that. But there's, ultraviolet, there's gamma, there's infrared, there's multispectral, there's all these other waves of light in electromagnetic frequencies, like the ones that are being emitted by my cell phone at this exact moment, and the TV and the camera that I'm talking to right now, talk to you, that's also emitting light waves that my retina cannot detect because we don't see in that light wave frequency. The brain is sending out these light waves on a consistent basis, but not just any kind of light wave. It's sending out a wave of light that's encoded with actual data. Actual information, program code is on the light wave. And so that program code goes out, it goes out into the universe, and it also sends that code and information down neurons, and then goes into your nervous system and goes down into the body to control movements and organs and everything else. Right? So the brain is a control center, basically, and it's transmitting this information on a consistent basis. So I gave you the good side, and I gave you the bad side so far, as this thing could literally be botched. So you know how plastic surgery, there's TV shows called Botched, where you see women who've gone in for plastic surgery and men have gone in for plastic surgery, and it's botched.
I knew a girl at one of my old jobs. She went to get a BBL, right? Fake booty. And she died. I don't know the details behind it. I wasn't close to her. I just knew of her. This wasn't somebody that I really would interact with a lot at the job, but she died. She traveled to get a BBL and she died. That what he just said just reminded me of that.
Well, this Neuralink can also be botched because at the speed in which they're trying to implement this into the human population is too fast to be safe. It's just too fast to be safe. And so people that are thinking they're going to go in for one result end up getting more negative results. Some will have good results. Some will not have good results. Some will have great results. Some will die. Some will definitely die. And this is probably something, a disclaimer you have to agree to.
This is absolutely, obvious. I think anybody can logically assume that there will be casualties, like I said earlier. But the crazy part about it is that people like Elon Musk, who's running, who owns this business, and people who are a part of the business, who are working on the business, are very greedy people. And to push it out before it's declared safe, and they know this. That's the messed up part about it, is that they know that. You know what I mean? They know that there are people that are going to have to die at the cost for their advancement, or for the advancement of this technology. When Billy Carson says unethical, it's very unethical, very immoral. And there's a reason why ethics and morals are embedded in our soul to be something that we recognize as a good thing, or something that we should do, or should be doing, or should have.
Before the surgery even occurs, that this could kill you, right? Just like we know the global Jabberwocky thing that they gave out. They make you sign a document saying, oh, this could kill you and you can't sue us. See? That's what it's saying, right? And so it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy because here we go. Capitalism is a dangerous thing. It could be a great thing, but in the situation where it comes down to health and wellness, when it comes down to prisons, when it comes down to judicial and political, capitalism needs to go bye-bye in those areas. It can't persist. It can't exist in those areas. It just can't, right? It just can't. Thank you, AJ Fernandez. All right, and everyone else who dropped the chat donation today, I really appreciate it. And so we're in a crazy, crazy, crazy time right now that this thing is getting ready to come out. And I'm going to give you the third side of this thing. So we talked about the benefits of it, of people with Alzheimer's. I didn't mention that. People with maybe Parkinson's, it might be able to help them. People with speech delays and speech, impediments. People who can't use their arms, can't use their legs. It's going to help some people, there's no doubt. But it's also going to hurt some people, no doubt.
Wow, family. That was something, for sure. I'm very glad I watched that video. It definitely brought a lot of things to my understanding, or not even just my understanding, to my awareness. I wasn't even aware. Like, I heard about the computer chips. I was not aware they were this far advanced into it. And yeah, guys, do y'all think Elon Musk is the Antichrist? Me personally, I don't know who the Antichrist is. I don't know. I don't personally think that it's him specifically. But I do believe that the Antichrist is very much linked to the advancement of AI technology, or just, AI technology. I don't know who and what is the Antichrist, but I definitely do believe it is linked to that. Whoever it is linked to that. Or it could be AI itself. But yeah, family, we are entering very dire times right now. Very important times right now. But I have to end this video off by reminding y'all this material temporary experience is temporary. What is happening, this is all part of the game. Now, should we do our best to fulfill our purposes, whatever the reason is that our souls came into this game? Absolutely. But remember this, the soul's immortal, the soul lives forever. So the advancement of your soul, your spiritual growth, will forever be more important than whatever is going on here. But what goes on here does affect that. So it depends on who it is, who you are, what your purpose is. But always remember, know your purpose, know yourself, know your worth, and continue to walk the path that you were born to walk. But that's all I gotta say for today, family. I love y'all.